So the floodlights have been put on here at Karting Genk as we go into the second out of 3 heats for DD2 Masters. It's race 16. Let's have a look at the starting grid. James Beecroft will be on pole position alongside Dennis Valentin-Sturm, ahead of Alessandro Glauser with Karl Klebort on row 2, Tom Dessert and Jörg Müller, row 3, Morgan Riesch and Sebastian Humpelhardt, row 4, Slavomir Moransky and Thomas Piet, row 5, Christophe Capitan, Christoph Adams, Fritz Sai, Bruno Dos Santos, Ian Gepps, Robert Schlunsen, Michael Becker, Thierry de Jong, Peter Giotai, Maxim Shaposhnikov and Mikolas Mazinas round out the 21 strong. So one of the drivers that really made headway last time out, gaining a massive 13 positions, was Mr. Robert Schlunsen in 16th place. Can he repeat the same feat here? Well, when we're under the nighttime sky, it could be a very, very different proposition altogether. But 10 minutes are on the clock, plus an additional lap. We'll see who gets this one in the bag this afternoon. So who's your bets on, folks? I'm betting on unpredictability. That's always the best thing. It's like they say in America, pleading the Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth, Your Honour. That's the best way, because I always enjoy karting because of the fact of the purity of the sport. Now, we're going to get 21 DD2 Masters drivers coming out of the final corner. Into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? We are lights out and off and racing. As they are able to have the lights out, they are able to break formation, and James Beecroft leads them in. Oh, and Jörg Müller gets a turnaround through turn 2, and that front bumper looks to be in, I'm afraid. So already he's on the back foot. That's the problem when you get into turn 2. You have that kink, and then it it comes in on itself, and it concertinas the field rather heavily when you're braking into that zone. They now make their way through into turn number 8 for the first time of asking. James Beecroft is leading the way, quickly being challenged by Alessandro Glauser from Switzerland. Dennis Valentin-Sturm and also Karl Klebort rounds out the top 4. Better start for him and also Tom Dessert. Robert Schlunsen's already got past Fritz Sai, I believe, in the 5.51. So already Robert Schlunsen dropped a position at the start and now has moved up a position or 2. We'll find out how many in just a few seconds' time. And he's already back up 2 places, up to 15th as, Karl Klebort, what's happened here? Has he had an issue? Not sure. That could be a bit of a problem there for Karl Klebort. He's put his hands up. I think, shake of the head. That means that kart is going to be pulled into Parc Fermé for the 2nd race in a row. A great start for the man known in the BNL as De Bakker. I originally nicknamed him the fastest baker in Flanders. He does have his own bakery. I can actually confirm. Wonderful stuff from that man. He's an absolute artisan when it comes to bakery. Unfortunately, his luck is not with him this weekend, I'm afraid. But he's already qualified last month at the BNL Karting Series finale, picking up his 2nd DD2 Masters title in 3 years. James Beecroft leads the way. Dennis Valentin-Sturm. Valentin-Sturm gets up the inside and takes 2nd. Tom Dessert now having a bit of a battle with Morgan Riesch, who won the first heat earlier on today. And with them, they've got Thomas Piet from Germany. So this is going to be a rather interesting battle. So Karl Klebort, unfortunately, will be the first driver to retire from this race. A real shame as Morgan Riesch up the inside of Tom Dessert and brings along with him Thomas Piet, but then round the outside Christophe, oh my goodness, what on earth? Christophe Capitan round the outside of Thomas Piet through turn 8, and Sebastian Humpelhardt up the inside of Thomas Piet at the very same corner. That's one I've not seen before. It's like carts to the left, carts to the right. And Thomas Piet, unfortunately, was stuck in the middle of all of that. But James Beecroft leads the way. Dennis Thum second. And it is confirmed that Carl Clibbot has parked the kart, I'm afraid. As there is Ian Getz getting past Thomas Piet, who is dropping positions. Not too far behind. I've just spotted the lesser spotted Christoph Adams in the 555. And Flipside gets up the inside of the 588 of Thierry Guillaume from the Netherlands. And Guillaume sweeps to the left-hand side into turn 7. Trying maybe to get a bit of a cut back on Flipside. And there is Robert Schlunzen right on the tail end Charlie of Christoph Adams, who looks over his right-hand shoulder. Goes, oh, who's that? And Thomas Piet having a bit of a battle here with Bruno dos Santos. Leaders come across the line. James Beecroft leads from Dennis Thum, who now strikes whilst the iron is hot. And gets through. He's a tenth exactly to the decimal point behind James Beecroft and got through onto what was the start of lap number 5. So 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Dennis Thum leads the way. James Beecroft, Alessandro Glauser and Slavomir Moransky in the 541 brings up the rear of this quartet battling for the lead. Morgan Riche is the fastest driver out there. Last time around, the Frenchman set a 54.689 second lap time as Moransky up the inside of Glauser through turn 12. The Polish driver stumbles a little bit, and here comes Morgan Riche right in the slipstream in towards turn 2. And Morgan Riche waits for his time. Does the old Nigel Mansell dummy right there. Went to the left, then went to the right, and instantly got through. Oh, and that is Bruno dos Santos. Where on earth is that? That's off of the final corner. And Bruno dos Santos far from happy at all, so I'm not too sure if there was an incident where he got the short end of the stick, as it were. So Dennis Thum leads, James Beecroft, Alessandro Glauser, Slavomir Moransky running out the top 4. It's now top 5 because Morgan Riche is now up into 4th place. Sebastian Humpelhardt is in 6th as the battle between Thomas Piet, Robert Schlunzen and Pritzai wages on. That is for the last spot in the top 10 as Moransky trying to keep a hold of the coattails of Morgan Riche. And is not too far behind, closes in on the braking zone. And at the moment, Thomas Piet has just had a mechanical breakdown and he is out of the race. And in the meantime, Alessandro Glauser just made the move on James Beecroft coming out of turn 6 and onto the Europolan. So with 3 minutes and 51 seconds, we are now down to 19 drivers. So that means there is going to be a yellow flag, and that is on Marshall post number 2 between turns 3 and 4 as Thum leads the field, and it's fast becoming a 5-way scrap for the lead. Rounded out by Slavomir Moransky. Top 5 covered by 1.2 seconds. Sebastian Humpelhardt trying to close in on them. Morgan Riche still with the fastest lap time, 54.668 seconds from the 5:15. And after the initial turnaround for Jörg Müller's managed to get himself up into 16th position. But James Beecroft coming under fire, and Morgan Riche sends it up the inside like a good one with just over 3 minutes on the clock to go through turn 7 off of the Europolan. So Morgan Riche took provisionally the first win of the weekend in DD2 Masters earlier on. Imagine that, though, a team boss from a team that's competing here this weekend. As there goes Alessandro Glauser up the inside of Dennis Valentis Sturm to now take the lead on what is now lap number 9 as the darkness starts to creep in little by little. And Morgan Riche is now waiting for his time to strike, and it could be sooner rather than later. James Beecroft still with them, and he's got Slavomir Moransky for close company just behind. And Morgan Riche looking at one way, looking at the other. Dennis Sturm trying to keep ahead. He's in Cyprus these days. Now, hopefully, we'll have an opportunity. But now Morgan Riche, it was not a case of if, it was a case of when. And now Sturm gets the switch back. That was neatly done by the Cyprus-based driver. And now Morgan Riche does the switch back again. And Dennis Sturm looks over his right shoulder. It's nearly side by side. James Beecroft up the inside of the 532 through turn 3, now 4. And he's going to get the move done. And Sturm sideways out of turn 5. Keeps it ahead of Slavomir Moransky. Oh my goodness, I think someone needed he had a bit of a wake-up call right then, did Dennis Valentis Sturm. So with 1 minute and 10 still to go, it's still all to play for because Morgan Riche is looking at one target, and one target alone. That is the 507 of Switzerland's Alessandro Glauser. Less than 60 seconds on the clock. Morgan Riche closing in as Moransky up the inside of Sturm for 4th place through turn 12. Now Dennis Valentis Sturm trying to keep in the slipstream of the 541 from Poland. Gets close under the braking zone. But now Morgan Riche is closing. Glauser knows it. Riche looking one way, then the other. Down the Europalan. Morgan Riche is about a kart length and a half behind as they head through turn 7. Oh, and he's going to have a little bit of a clatter into the slightest amount of touch in between the two. And that has given Morgan Riche the opportunity he needed to get through. And that was on threading the eye of the needle. It was close. And Glauser had to react accordingly. But James Beecroft finds himself in 3rd place. One more lap remains in the penultimate stage of heat stay. After this one, we go to the business end because now one more lap remains. And Morgan Riche looking for 2 for 2 at this moment as James Beecroft hangs on to 3rd position. Alessandro Glauser in 2nd, Dennis Valentis Sturm in 4th place, in 5th place ahead of, behind Slavomir Moransky. But here comes Sebastian Humpelhardt. Oh, that was a bit close for comfort there, boys, through turn 7. So the leaders now making their way through into turn number 10. And Morgan Riche, the 515, based out of France, out of the final corner. He's going to do the double. Could it be 3 in a row later on? We'll find out. But he takes the win from Alessandro Glauser by just under 1.1 seconds. James Beecroft in 3rd. Slavomir Moransky 4th. Dennis Valentis Sturm in 5th place. We've had 2 retirements, unfortunately. Carl Clibor on the 2nd lap and Thomas Piet with a mechanical breakdown on lap number 6. As our 19th and final driver, Bruno Dos Santos, makes his way out of the final corner to cross the finish line. But Morgan Riche wins again here in DD2 Masters. So full course yellows employed here at Karting Genk. And let's have a look at the rest of the results. So Morgan Riche wins by just under 1.1 seconds, having started again in 7th place. Alessandro Glauser in 2nd. James Beecroft, who started from pole position, rounds out the top 3 ahead of Slavomir Moransky, Dennis Valentis Sturm, Sebastian Humpelhardt, Ian Gepps, Christophe Capitan, Fritz Sai, Robert Schlunzen, Michael Becker, Tom Dessert, Christoph Adams, Nicolas Mezinas, Jörg Müller, Thierry de Jong, Peter Gyurtai, Maxim Shaposhnikov, and Bruno dos Santos being the last of the classified finishers, 19 of them, with Thomas Piet and Carl Clebot unfortunately retiring from the race.